to Church versus the World, the channel to where I talk about things that you and I might find interesting. Tonight's topic is SJW culture in movies. And this is something I feel really strong about because I, at one point, was a really big movie buff. Like, I love movies. I love stories because I am, in fact, a writer, and movies are the medium that got me addicted to a good story. Let's jump back to, I think it was 1989 or 1990, a little movie called Mannequin. I know what you're thinking, but it was a great movie back in the day. Like, it was about a woman who was cursed by Egyptian gods to remain in a mannequin state, I guess, until true love found its, I don't know, whatever. But it was a good movie. My dad, who was a strong Republican, loved that movie. And now we get to the juicy part. The side character, or not side character, he was, I think he pretty much was a big part of the movie as well. His name was Hollywood. He was a black gay man, and he was fucking fabulous and awesome. He was one of the best parts of the movie. He was also a military black gay man, and halfway through the movie, whenever they're trying to save the girl, he makes the crack about being in the army. I learned that in the army. And his buddy goes, "You were in the army?" He goes, "Yeah, Uncle Sam was looking for a few good men, and so was I." It just little nuance, little jokey joke, haha. But what made that a great movie and a great character was there was nothing in the movie besides little, subtle hints and nuances that pointed that out. It wasn't like, "Oh my God, you're gay? Oh, let's make a complete useless subplot about the black gay man in the army." It was just a fun character in a fun movie saving the day. As a matter of fact, he's the only character that came back for the second one, which really sucked. Let's face it, the first one was gold, the second one was like, whatever. And then we jump a few years later down the line to the movie The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. Awesome movie back then. Great movie. Gina Davis, oh my God, you rock. She was gorgeous. She made the action scenes half-ass believable. She was great in it. Like, feminists should rejoice for that movie. And yet, they probably won't ever. And it was it was a movie about Susie Homemaker who had amnesia and has a family. She's married, has a daughter, everything's, hunky dory until her assassin past starts retracing its steps in her mind. She goes through this movie, starting off as, your average everyday housewife, into being a completely brutal, badass assassin. And Samuel L. Jackson goes from being just, I think he was a taxi driver or something. I don't remember, but he winds up being a complete badass in that movie. At the end of the movie, he pretty much helps save the day by setting up in his car after being beat half to death, looking covered in blood. Everybody thought he was dead, and he's like, "Nah, can't kill me, motherfucker," and drives the car out and starts laying, doing as much damage as he can. Help save the day. Completely awesome character. The movie was wonderful. And that's what I'm getting at. Movies back then pulled that off because it wasn't shoved down your throat 24/7. It wasn't always a strong feminist movie. And, it wasn't always, if the story calls for it, yeah. But don't shoehorn shit in movies to virtue signal. People can tell it's awful. Like Captain Marvel was just a feminist propaganda movie. Don't get me wrong, there were some redeeming qualities. Samuel L. Jackson being one of them, and the cat. The cat was awesome. But and there was some great special effects. There was great, there was a lot of redeeming qualities. But the story, but Captain Marvel herself in that movie was garbage. I'll say it. I mean, great special effects, cool action scenes. As a character, she was garbage. And her character is helping kill the MCU as we speak. I mean, Avengers Endgame, great movie. The only subtle bitches I have about it, Captain Marvel wasn't even a bitch of mine until I thought, man, it would have been a lot cooler if the Hulk would have just hulked out and destroyed Thanos' ship instead of Captain Marvel coming to save the day. Like, and it would have been a lot better and a lot more believable and awesome if they would have just let Scarlet Witch shine in her fight with Thanos instead of having fire it all down and then Captain Marvel destroy. I mean, no, they should have just gave that to Scarlet Witch and then like let the Hulk take out the ship. I mean, it was. I mean, they had to shoehorn Captain Feminist in there somehow. And then there was that girl power scene with the gauntlet, and no, there's no way on a battlefield that vast that all them chicks would have showed up at the right time to have their big cut scene, to where they're all together and then run the gauntlet, all girls. I mean, it's so dumb, it's so shoehorned, and if Kevin Feige is headed that way with his movies, count me out, dog. Like seriously, I'm done. I mean, no, that and it scares me because with the way the PC SJW culture is infesting everything, I'm thinking that's probably what's gonna happen. I mean, Black Panther, amazing movie. It all made sense. The whole Black Power theme of it made perfect sense. They were in Africa. I mean, I know I don't want to sound racist, but the African country of Wakanda that is fictional was where a majority of that took place, and Compton, and it was about Eric Killmonger. Of course, y'all know what the movie's about. Eric Killmonger wanted to not just save his people from Wakanda, but all around the world. It made sense that it was a mainly black cast and a mainly black driven movie and you know empowerment. That's great, but they didn't they didn't bash everyone else in the process. It was just what the movie was about and how it took place. It was a well written movie all around. Good movie. I mean, and you have like the whole feminist thing to where they're trying to bash male led movies and all these other movies and like no. A true feminist hero was Black Widow because that chick knew what she was working with and knew how to get what she wanted and used it, and on top of that she was a badass. And then you got movies like Alita Battle Angel, fantastic, great movie. Great movie. And but there's so many out there that are just they just like the Star Wars thing. Like the ones that are written by straight up feminists are the ones that suck because they're killing Star Wars. Like not in a good way. They're like actually murdering it. Like hands around the throat. Sorry, fuck you, George Lucas. I mean, killing it because Rey was a good character in the first one because you could have easily explained her overpoweredness, like in her connection to the Force, by who she might have been related to, or the fact that it was an imbalance of good and evil, so she's got all this weird power stored up, blah blah blah. They could have explained it in a really good way, but they didn't. And now it's just her and her stormtrooper buddy mowing people down. I mean, it's just there's no obstacle. A good story has to have obstacles. It has to have endurance and character growth, and you have to overcome something. That is a good story. But no. And it's not just in movies, it's in video games, it's everywhere. The strong female protagonist decimating everything. And I mean, and I mean, Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol by DC was done fantastically. Fantastically. You have you have a gay character, you have a strong female character. I mean, you have all of it. I mean, it's a great show, wonderful show. Like it's one of my favorites right now. And but then you turn around to the CW and their whole girl power episode of the crossover between Arrow and Flash and uh, whatever else they're doing these days, and the whole feminist episode was garbage. And then you have that horrible, horrible Batgirl. Like I don't, I heard the show was actually all right and it wasn't as bad as the preview, but that preview makes it seem like garbage to the point to where I won't watch it right now. Like I gotta cool down because you're just pushing that shit and you're making everybody think that men are evil and especially white dudes were like the scourge of humanity, and that's no, no, no. I mean, what happened to content to character? What happened to, judging people by who they are and not the color of their skin or their sexuality or anything like that? Did everybody forget about all that? Seems like it. You're too worried about how to virtue signal to the, Latinx or LGBT or black community. Why why do we have to be separated into subcategories? I mean, you got people of color, LGBT, and then cis white people. Why? Why do we got to be so divided? Y'all are the ones doing it. You're all batshit crazy. I mean, and it's starting to show in media. And it's like a big brainwashing technique. And it seems like it's working on a lot of you. As Ultron said, ain't no strings on me. Oh, well, I'm done. That's my view on the culture we're in these days. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment. Even if you hated the video, give me a thumbs down and hit me up down in the comments below and tell me why you hated it. Cuz I'm sure some of you will. Oh well. I don't care about your feelings. I care about facts. And there's not enough of that going around these days. Why don't we try making some good movies instead of making, garbage movies that are just out to push an agenda? I mean, remember the days when you could just sit down and watch a movie just to watch a movie and not have to have some political nonsense narrative shoehorned in? Or remember whenever they did put political narratives in there and it made sense? I remember those days. Some of those movies were actually pretty dope. Some of them weren't. But I'm out. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell me what you think. Give me some feedback. Do what you do, YouTube.